Rejuvenating media day by day. This is Salam Media.
Taking a look at what has taken place in the city of Johannesburg, where the mayor Mpho Phalatse was ousted once again with a vote of no confidence. Now, the question is, how stable are these local governments, and what should the framework for coalitions in local government actually be? Because we've seen the fragility and we've seen the instability as far as coalitions at local government level has gone. At the end of the day, it is you and I, the citizens, while all of this is actually playing out in the city council's chambers. At the end of the day, the instability, and we've seen this occurrence over and over again. We've seen it in a number of places. We've seen it happen in Ekurhuleni. We see now in Durban. We saw yesterday where we spoke to the Citizens Active Action Coalition, and they've been talking about the removal of the Durban mayor. The question is, when is this going to stop? When are the councillors going to get down to actually do the job that they are being paid for? Because while all of this is actually playing out, the city is suffering. And this morning, we are talking with City of Johannesburg ATM's Cllr Lubabalo Magwentshu. Councillor, good morning to you and welcome to the show.
Morning and greetings to your viewers as well.
Yes, thank you for your time this morning. Now, we've seen the ATM issue a statement talking about being successful in its motion of no confidence against Mayor Mpho Phalatse. Now, this statement obviously talks about a number of issues. It speaks about frustrations about the former mayor, about the failure to deliver the objectives and the obligations of local government. The question is, this is happening once too often. We've seen the mayor removed in the past. We've seen the ANC install a mayor. The matter went to court. Mpho Phalatse was reinstated. Now we are talking again about supporting, obviously, another candidate. At the end of the day, when is this actually going to stop, and when is the city going to get down to business?
Thank you. Our motion was about the residents of the city of Johannesburg. One, it was to free the city from being remotely controlled by a cabal that is constituted by people who are not even residents of the city of Johannesburg, but who were imposing decisions on the city of Johannesburg to the detriment of the residents, which is why we ended up having residents that were being neglected in terms of service delivery, because the government, the DA-led government, was mainly focusing on paging senior officials in the city. And those senior officials were the very same people that were supposed to be facilitating the very same service delivery that we're talking about for the residents of the city. Now, we sat down and we said, you know what, we cannot no longer allow this to happen. SMNEs were not being paid because, and remember, SMNEs are instrumental, are very crucial in terms of service delivery. And now when they're not being paid, it means there are no services that are going to the communities. And the reason for that was that there was poor planning of financial planning and management. And we could not then, as African Transformation Movement, allow that to continue any further, which is why we brought this motion. Yes, there were issues that we had, even when you look at the ANC and the EFF, there's been issues. But then we sat down with them and said, you know what, we can no longer allow this to happen. We engaged as minority parties with the EFF and the ANC. We said, while you guys are busy ironing out your issues, the city is burning. People are being neglected. They are not getting the services that they are supposed to be getting. And the residents can no longer be held as ransom by this. We then came to a conclusion to say, you know, in the interest of the residents, who will then have to get a a mayor that will be coming from the minorities. All of this is being done in the best interest of the residents to ensure that there is stability in the city. Because you remember, as a movement, we declared to our communities, we actually committed to say we will put them first. Whatever it is that we'll do it for them because we exist to serve them. In our party as ATM, we refer to ourselves as servants because we solely exist to serve our people. And we saw that at the moment, our people are not being served correctly. That is why we said, no, we are putting in this motion. So, and we believe that with a mayor that will be coming from the minorities, there will be stability because no one is going to come and impose decisions. We're going to sit down as a collective and make decisions that will be in the best interest of the city. And I think this will then define even the coalition because there's issues with coalition government because coalition government seems to be about who gets what. But with what we are coming up with, it's all about the residents.
What you're saying is very, very true in terms of coalition governments and about party and party loyalty. Basically, seems to be the biggest problem at this point in time, where local government seems to be loyal to the party rather than looking at delivering the necessary services to the residents. But also, as you mentioned, and I think you correctly pointed this thing out, in terms of jockeying for position as to who gets what. And we've seen a lot of this taking place recently in terms of the horse trading that takes place, that I will give you this if you give me that. And this also seems to be a problem with some parties that, obviously switching sides, switching allegiances as a result of the positions that they actually seek.
It's not only that, especially in the city of Johannesburg. Yes, that might also be playing a part. But the biggest issue that we've been having in the city of Johannesburg is the fact that the city was not being run by the residents of the city of Johannesburg. People that were sitting in Cape Town, sitting in other areas of the country, were running the city, imposing things on the city, and being arrogant about it. Look, for instance, now, the city does not have a city manager. It's been 13 months. How do you have a city that does not have a city manager? A city manager is the accounting officer of the city. Now, when you don't have a city manager for 13 months, you don't have a CFO. How do you then expect to run a city? And the reason for that is because a certain cabal wanted to impose a certain city manager in the city. Disregarding all the processes, they wanted to impose this person. Eventually, that one person was then imposed to Tshwane. That one person is now a city manager in Tshwane because we refused in the city of Johannesburg. So no, that is not going to happen. No one is going to be imposed to us. The very same individual who the executive mayor, the former executive mayor, Dr. Mpho Phalatse, was called into a meeting. He had to share the meeting with this individual because this individual had to be introduced to her to say, this is the person that we are going to be employing as a city manager. So we could not allow that to happen as the ATM because ours is to say, we are a values-driven political party. That is one of the reasons why we said we will be a self-funding party because we do not want to be controlled by anyone. We want to be controlled only by the residents. We want to be controlled only by our constituencies. So yes. That's why I'm saying right now we will see a change in Johannesburg. Believe you me.
Well, Councillor, I see the ATM has now nominated Councillor Thapelo Ahmed of the Al Jama Party as the mayoral candidate. from the minority parties. Now, the key issue here is we know this at this point in time, this is just a nomination. But at the end of the day, are you confident that your nominated candidate, Thapelo Ahmed, would be the right person for the job and to take the city forward, but not only taking the city forward, but to address all the issues, all the problems that you speak about, the failure of the DA in providing these services, and you speak about a lot of them in terms of accountable government, you speak about provision of services, you speak about social and economic development, safe and healthy environments. All of this at the end of the day, do you feel that the councillor has got what it takes to lead the city and to take the city forward?
We have confidence in him. You know, Thapelo Ahmed is coming from the minorities. We share the same views. We've had several discussions on how we need to turn the city around. We've seen our people suffering, and we could not keep quiet. And because of that, we said we need to have to elect amongst us a candidate that we believe will serve the residents, as a candidate that we believe will best serve do what we've agreed on in terms of saving the people. And with his experience, he's a former MNC in the previous government. He was an MNC, so already he's got exposure. He understands what needs to be done, and he's got a heart to do it. He's been there on the ground. I've been on the ground with him, so I understand his work ethic.
Now, what guarantees are there that going forward we are not going to see another vote of no confidence?
There will not be another vote of no confidence. Remember, this is what is this. If you can recall, in November, we put in a motion in November. But in November, when we put in the motion, we then withdrew it. And one of the reasons why we withdrew that motion in November is because it was not because we did not have the numbers. The numbers were there, they were secured as they are secured now. But there were certain issues with regards to the stability of the city that we needed to find each other on with the other stakeholders or other role players in this, which was now the EFF, the ANC, and the TH. And because we felt it was important that we have a stable government, which is what now everyone has agreed on to say this is the way to go. That is why I have full confidence.
Well, Cllr Lubabalo Magwentshu, thank you very much for that and for your time with us this morning. We certainly will be following developments. We will be watching the space, and let's see what actually pans out. And we thank you once again for taking time out and being part of this discussion this morning.
And I want to assure the residents and your listeners that Thapelo Ahmed has got the full support of all the 149 councillors, 141 including him. So he's got the full support. So there is no way that he's going to fail. They must just expect services to be delivered. And we expect them to demand those services. It was because they put us in power to give them the services. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Cllr Lubabalo Magwentshu with us this morning, ATM City of Johannesburg councillor.